The day before the marriage reality show, I slapped the divorce agreement on the table.
The agreement has expired. Let's get a divorce, Ethan Parker.
I was the laid-back supporting character, and he was the deeply affectionate one. We got married because he was heartbroken by the female lead, and his mother offered me $6 million to be with him. Now, the time has come and we can part ways. In 3 years of marriage, the times we shared a bed could be counted on one hand. What is affection? I have no idea.
Wise people don't fall in love, drowning in it is not our responsibility.
6 million is indeed a lot, more than enough to start a prosperous life. Besides, I was just a pretty face in the entertainment industry, unlikely to see that much money in my lifetime. He faced the computer, his eyes glanced at the divorce agreement for a second before looking away, his tone indifferent.
I understand.
I waved my hand as I left his study, not forgetting to remind him.
Yes, please get back to me soon.
Ethan Parker watched the woman turn away coldly. His previously cool, aloof, and handsome face turned into a tearful expression in an instant.
It's over. My dear wife wants a divorce. What should I do? Waiting online, very urgent.
Instead of the green divorce certificate, we received a notification for a marriage reality show. Ethan and I sat facing each other, and I looked at the notification with dissatisfaction.
Can you go for the filming?
He picked up the notification, glanced at it, and put it down, seeking my opinion.
Thanks for the invitation, but can I refuse?
I was already prepared for a post-divorce life of karaoke on odd days and bar hopping on even days. The dawn of revolution has appeared. How can I stop now?
I don't think Mr. Parker needs this show, and our identities don't quite fit.
The show focuses on sweet romance, which I believe is far from what Ethan and I share. Ethan's expression seemed to change for a moment, too quickly for me to catch, and I only heard him say,
1 million per episode, 3 episodes in total.
3 million? The contract on the table was swiftly taken away, leaving only a blur, followed by a big Emily Bennett signature on it.
All right, just let me know how I can cooperate.
On the first day of filming, for the 9th time since our marriage, I held Ethan Parker's hand, smiling brightly. There were 2 couples and 1 pair of lovers. The male and female leads were one couple, Ethan and I were another, and the top-tier artist Liam Collins and the popular actress Sophia Turner were the lovers. Back then, many netizens had strong opinions about a third-tier actress like me marrying Ethan Parker. Now, seeing us on a marriage reality show together, they were even more bewildered.
How did Emily Bennett manage to marry Mr. Parker and now appear on a reality show with him?
Mr. Parker, are you being threatened? Blink if you are!
Emily, why are you so happy? Are you thrilled to use Mr. Parker to boost your popularity?
Mr. Parker looks so stern. It's obvious he's unwilling. They must have no feelings for each other. When will they divorce? I'm ready to celebrate.
Looking at the male and female leads standing in the distance, I suddenly understood why Ethan Parker agreed to come. After all, the female lead was his first love. Even though she married the male lead, it's not unreasonable for him to want to see her. People live on memories, especially someone as deeply affectionate as the second male lead. As I approached the group, I tactfully let go of Ethan's hand.
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
They even took off their microphones to chat for a while. I couldn't help but shake my head. The male lead must have a big heart to let his wife chat with her former rival.
Ethan! Long time no see. I didn't expect we'd be filming together again so soon.
I quietly retreated to a corner and chuckled softly. The director's team had prepared some fruit nearby, so I casually picked one up and started eating. As everyone knows, a triangle is the most stable shape. $3 million to watch these people act in front of me every day? Which TV show could afford to hire these stars? Hearing my laughter, netizens couldn't hold back and started criticizing. What's so funny? Who are you giving that look to? Emily Bennett must be dying of jealousy, right? Can't keep her mouth shut without eating something, huh? I get it. My favorite couple is back together. Forget about her. She's not important. I'm shipping them. The live broadcast showed the comments scrolling rapidly. While they were busy catching up, I glanced at the fast-moving comments and rolled my eyes. I deftly discarded the fruit pit, wiped my hands, and found the camera pointing at me. I made a friendly international gesture. After all, once I got the money, I planned to leave the entertainment industry, so I didn't care about my image. I picked up the microphone and retorted.
Are you pea shooters? All you do is spit? Even the zombie boss would be overwhelmed by your spitting.
Unfortunately, I spoke just as the others had stopped talking. I saw Ethan Parker's eyes widen slightly in disbelief. I raised an eyebrow. No one said I couldn't argue with netizens. Ethan Parker didn't say anything and walked over to stand beside me. I wasn't sure what he meant, but for the sake of my $3 million, I decided to behave. After all, who would turn down money? The first activity for everyone was cooking, but unfortunately, I couldn't cook. So while everyone else was washing and preparing vegetables, I sat on the sofa playing with my phone.
Emily, could you help me peel these carrots?
Sophia Turner asked, holding 2 muddy carrots and looking at me expectantly from the sink. Before I could get up, Ethan Parker went over.
I'll do it.
Thanks.
Because of my action, the netizens' tongues started itching again. However, before they could say much, Ethan quickly peeled the carrots and even washed a bowl of cherries, bringing them over to me.
Your hand is injured, try to avoid water for a few days. Honey.
One sentence almost made me drop the bowl of cherries. Honey? In 3 years of marriage, he had always called me by my name. What was he on today? Going all out for a reality show? The female lead was right there. So was Sophia Turner.
Mr. Parker, I
wanted to address him but didn't know what to call him. The comments were exploding, with some netizens even questioning their hearing. He placed the bowl of cherries in my lap, his voice just loud enough for the entire hall to hear.
Is there a reward?
A reward? What kind of reward? My brow twitched. I silently repeated $3 million 100 times in my mind and gritted my teeth, asking.
Should I kiss you now? Husband?
If it's a show, let's put on a show. I didn't expect Ethan Parker to take it seriously. When his handsome face enlarged in front of me, I instinctively raised my hand and slapped his face away. The trending topics exploded because of our interaction and because I slapped him. Hashtag Ethan Parker gets slapped hashtag.
Emily Bennett slaps Ethan Parker.
Ethan Parker asks for a kiss.
Ethan Parker walked out of the bathroom, his hair still wet, and the faint imprint of my slap visible on his left cheek, making him look somewhat pitiful.
Are you mad? I was too sudden, sorry.
He was wearing a bathrobe, his voice much gentler than usual, and he was asking if I was mad while looking like that.
Not at all, I was wrong to hit you. I'll apologize on Weibo later.
Apologize?
His face darkened, his eyes turning somber, exuding an inexplicable sense of pressure.
What's wrong?
Could it be that an apology wasn't enough? Did I need to write an essay? For $3 million. I guess I could. Emily was brimming with joy, her eyes sparkling.
Emily, why are you so happy? Are you excited to use Mr. Parker to boost your popularity?
Mr. Parker looks so stern. It's obvious he's unwilling. They must have no feelings for each other. When will they separate? I'm ready to celebrate.
Observing Ethan Parker and Sophia Turner standing together, I suddenly understood why Ethan had agreed to come. After all, Sophia was his first love. Even though she married Liam, it wasn't unreasonable for Ethan to want to see her. People live on memories, especially someone as deeply affectionate as Ethan. Emily stood by the window, her face glowing with happiness. Her friend, Lisa, couldn't help but notice.
Emily, why are you so happy? Are you thrilled to use Mr. Parker to boost your popularity?
Emily glanced over at the male and female leads standing in the distance.
Mr. Parker looks so stern, it's obvious he's unwilling. They must have no feelings for each other. When will they divorce? I'm ready to celebrate.
Looking at the male and female leads standing in the distance, I suddenly understood why Ethan Parker agreed to come. After all, the female lead was his first love. Even though she married the male lead, it's not unreasonable for him to want to see her. People live on memories, especially someone as deeply affectionate as the second male lead. Emily and Olivia stood in the corner, observing the scene unfolding before them.
Olivia, why are you so happy? Are you thrilled at the thought of using Mr. Parker to boost your popularity?
Mr. Parker looks so stern, it's obvious he's unwilling. They must have no feelings for each other. When will they part ways? I'm ready to celebrate.
Watching the male and female leads in the distance, Emily suddenly understood why Ethan Parker had agreed to come.
After all, the female lead was his first love. Even though she married the male lead, it's not unreasonable for him to want to see her. People live on memories, especially someone as deeply affectionate as Ethan.
The atmosphere was lively as Emily Bennett and Ethan Parker arrived at the set. The netizens were buzzing with excitement, awaiting any interaction between the couple.
Emily, why are you so happy? Are you thrilled to use Mr. Parker to boost your popularity?
Emily glanced at the male and female leads standing in the distance, a realization dawning upon her.
Mr. Parker looks so stern, it's obvious he's unwilling. They must have no feelings for each other. When will they part ways? I'm ready to celebrate.
She suddenly understood why Ethan Parker had agreed to come. After all, the female lead was his first love. Even though she was married to the male lead, it wasn't unreasonable for him to want to see her. People live on memories, especially someone as deeply affectionate as Ethan. Ethan's gaze was gentle, always fixed on me. If I had seen this look during our first year of marriage, I might have thought he had a change of heart. But after all this time, if he truly liked me, why did it take 3 years to show it?
Come here, Wintergreen.
Recently, Wintergreen had grown increasingly fond of me. If it weren't for my difficulty getting out of bed, Ethan wouldn't have to take him for walks. Wintergreen didn't come over. He seemed exhausted, glanced at me, and ran off to drink water.
Where did you take him?
Ethan's expression remained unchanged, his eyes curved in a harmless smile.
Just ran a couple of laps, not much. Maybe he's just out of shape.
I heard Wintergreen grumble in dissatisfaction and looked at Ethan in exasperation. He really was something.
Even though it's a contractual marriage, why does it seem like Mr. Parker is chasing after Emily Bennett now? It's kinda sweet. He said he doesn't like pets, but he actually enjoys raising one with Emily. What did Wintergreen do wrong? He just caught a bit of Emily's attention. Mr. Parker, don't be so possessive.
As the show neared its end, there was an interview we needed to attend. When I appeared holding Ethan Parker's hand at the interview site, the audience went wild. They said it was sweet, and I just smiled. I noticed Ethan's grip on my hand was a bit too tight. Turning my head, I saw his stern face.
Are you nervous?
Ethan stared at me for a long time, then nodded, delivering a straightforward confession that left me speechless.
You're too beautiful. I'm afraid I don't deserve you.
Maintaining a professional smile, I sat on the couch arranged by the show. The host began asking questions.
Mr. Parker, fans are curious about the real feelings between you and Ms. Bennett now.
We were still holding hands. Perhaps because there were so many people present, his palm felt too warm, making me a bit restless.
Haven't you all noticed? I'm chasing after my wife.
His words caused the audience to scream again. The host's gaze then fell on me, and I had a bad feeling.
Ms. Bennett, do you feel your heart race when you're with Mr. Parker? Do you ever feel the urge to spend the rest of your life with him?
With all eyes on me, I took a deep breath and replied bluntly.
If my heart didn't race, would I be here filming this show? Impulses? People need to stay calm.
I thought my answer was sharp enough, but Ethan suddenly became animated. His eyes met mine, sincere and passionate.
So, you have felt moved, haven't you?
Emily walked into the room with a cheerful expression, drawing curious glances from everyone. Sarah, her friend, couldn't help but ask.
Emily, why are you so happy? Are you thrilled to use Mr. Parker to boost your popularity?
Emily's smile faltered slightly. Meanwhile, another person, Lisa, joined the conversation.
Mr. Parker looks so stern. It's obvious he's unwilling. They must have no feelings for each other. When will they part ways? I'm ready to celebrate.
Emily glanced at the male and female leads standing in the distance, suddenly understanding why Ethan Parker had agreed to come.
After all, the female lead was his first love. Even though she married the male lead, it's not unreasonable for him to want to see her.
People live on memories, especially someone as deeply affectionate as Ethan Parker. The last episode of the reality show was filmed at home. It was the first time in 3 years that Ethan Parker and I spent 3 days and 2 nights alone at home. He even moved his work to the house, and apart from working, he followed me around everywhere.
Don't you have anything else to do?
Yes, I'm chasing my wife.
He's hopeless, truly hopeless. The TV was showing the live broadcast of the reality show. Sophia Turner and Liam Collins didn't participate in the final shoot, leaving just the 2 couples. The tone of the comments had completely changed since that day's interview. Creating a couple dynamic was to make his wife jealous. Frequent business trips were to make his wife worry and miss him. $6 million was the bargaining chip to keep his wife, and $3 million was a protest against divorce. Ethan Parker was entirely a wife-obsessed man. Netizens had been glued to the live broadcast since 8:30 in the morning and had barely seen any moments where Ethan Parker and Emily Bennett were apart.
You two are ridiculous. Are you conjoined twins?
I'm starting to think Mr. Parker deserves it. He can't speak properly, messes around, like someone but doesn't directly pursue them and uses indirect methods. No wonder he has to use money to keep his wife. I second that. Dig your own pit and fill it yourself, Mr. Parker. Good luck with the long journey of winning your wife back. I'll be here to support you.
After Ethan Parker's story came out, we both became famous. My social media followers increased by 6 million overnight, and offers started pouring in. I definitely benefited from this, but Ethan Parker didn't care at all. In fact, he was quite proud of the outcome.
Ethan Parker, if you really have nothing to do, could you come over and run lines with me? I'll pay you $100 an hour, how about that?
Having a professional around is always beneficial, and I'm more than willing to invest in myself.
If you don't pay me, can we not get divorced?
I knew he would bring up this topic. Exasperated, I took the script and went to the balcony to read. The weather was nice, just like my mood about to receive those 3 million, but occasionally heavy clouds would cover the sun, making it alternately cloudy and sunny. A call came in. I looked at my phone, it was the female lead.
Hello?
I sent something to your house. It's at the door now, could you go get it?
With a sense of suspicion, I went downstairs, with Ethan Parker obediently following behind, curious about what the female lead had sent. The package was plain, but as soon as I opened it, the person behind me exploded. It was a box full of colorful, handwritten letters. Some were neatly decorated, while others were crumpled up. The familiar handwriting was Ethan Parker's.
Give me the box.
I gave him a warning look. I was very curious about what else he was hiding. The crumpled letters were particularly noticeable. Besides Ethan Parker's handwriting, there were also comments in red ink.
Sentences are not smooth, not acceptable. She wouldn't like this, it's too awkward. Rewrite it. Too formal, like a report. Cross it out.
More than half the box was filled with crumpled paper. Initially, I opened them out of curiosity, but soon I was carefully holding and reading them. The early ones were indeed unreadable, but the later decorated letters were filled with love in every word.
I counted, and if I'm not mistaken, there are 10 letters in each stack, 6 stacks in total, and 41 crumpled sheets. That's a total of 101 letters.
It feels like seeing them during their school days. It's wonderful.
I think I got something in my eye. I'm too old for this. I'm out.
How can you not be moved? My heart is doing a 360-degree Thomas spin.
I continued to open the letters, with a voice inside telling me I had to read them all. Suddenly, Ethan Parker turned me aside and hugged me. His breath fell on my cheek, gentle and trembling.
Please, stop reading.
I lifted his head and looked into his eyes. He couldn't even meet my gaze.
Why? Weren't they written for me? Why didn't you give them to me back then?
Ethan Parker seemed to recall his younger self and lowered his head.
Yes, they were written for you, but love makes people timid. I'm no exception.
Ethan Parker, a top figure in the entertainment industry, with the title of Best Actor within reach, never lowering his head under the spotlight, was now bowing his head, unable to look at me.
You should really thank her for keeping these and sending them to me.
Ethan Parker understood my implication and looked up in surprise.
So?
I'll keep the letters. We'll talk about the divorce after the show ends.
Ethan Parker suddenly stood up, moving so quickly that I didn't have time to react. He picked me up and spun me around happily. I clung to his shoulders, glancing at the still-working camera, feeling a bit embarrassed.
Ethan Parker! Are you a child?
Ethan Parker just kept laughing, not answering me. Narrator, tone, reflective. In fact, there was only one day left until the end of the show. As I held a bouquet of flowers at the wrap party, it all felt a bit surreal. Ethan Parker's first love was me. The person in his heart has always been me. If the past few days of filming weren't a dream, this was indeed the case.
James, tone, cheerful, congratulations.
Olivia, tone, cheerful congratulations. If you have a second wedding, remember to invite me.
Narrator, tone, amused. James and Olivia walked past us, holding flowers. Olivia, as usual, patted Ethan on the shoulder and smiled at me. It's laughable, not only should we invite her, but she should also sit at the main table. After walking the red carpet and taking photos, the live broadcast was about to end. Ethan and I returned home one after the other. As soon as we got home, he couldn't hold back any longer.
Ethan, tone, serious now. Can you tell me the answer?
Narrator, tone, hopeful. He cornered me at the door, looking like he wouldn't let me in without an answer. I glanced at the anxious man, stifling a laugh as I pushed him aside and walked into the house. Narrator, tone, playful. All right, let's make do. Narrator, tone, excited. Ethan seemed overly excited. He turned around, grabbed me, and his hands were trembling.
Ethan, tone, excited, really?
Narrator, tone, serious. I turned my head and looked at him seriously. Narrator, tone, serious, really. Narrator, tone, serious. Since I had agreed, I prepared to give him the divorce agreement to handle. Narrator, tone, curious. Wait here, I'll get the divorce papers. Narrator, tone, surprised. I walked over to the coffee table, but before I could finish my sentence, I saw that the drawer where the divorce papers were kept was completely empty. Turning around, I saw Ethan's guilty expression. Narrator, tone, amused. I smiled and asked, where are the papers?
Ethan, tone, confident. The day you gave them to me, I fed them to the shredder.
Narrator, tone, amused. Ha, this guy never intended to get divorced.
Ethan, tone, romantic. Honey, I'm your ideal type, and you're my first love. Aren't we a perfect match?
Narrator, tone, reflective. With the conclusion set, his romantic side kicked in again, and he held me tightly. I thought about all the things he had done over the past 3 years. Narrator, tone, reflective. Liked me but didn't say anything. Wrote love letters but didn't send them. Wanted to know more about me but didn't ask me directly. Wanted to marry me and used 6 million to lure me. Narrator, tone, amused. Ha, it's laughable. And he calls this a perfect match? Narrator, tone, mocking. Perfect match, my foot. You tight-lipped gourd. Narrator, tone, cheerful. Ethan laughed again, not caring about my disdainful tone.
Ethan, tone, cheerful. A tight-lipped gourd is still your tight-lipped gourd, only yours.
Narrator, tone, romantic. That night, all the netizens waiting for updates on our divorce saw a new tweet from that small account. Narrator, tone, romantic. My wife hugged me to sleep. She smells so good and is so soft. Lifetime contract signed, no intruders allowed.